Well, I am so excited to introduce you to my friend Rob Fortier. He is just such a fun guy, so smart, so bright. We've become friends this past year through a community that we're part of, and it's just been a joy to play with him and hang out with him and just be able to support each other, because what he does is so important right now, especially with so many of us working online, is emails, right? So I'm going to read his bio, his formal bio. Rob Fortier's goal as a content marketing coach is to help coaches, consultants, and solopreneurs better understand how to develop and nurture their relationships with their email subscribers, as well as harness the power of their email list by offering content that inspires, educates, and entertains. He teaches strategies to get writing done quickly, even for those that don't think they are good writers. And for those of you who've been in my world, clients of mine, there's a bunch of you here, you know that I'm all about building relationships, right? And offering content that inspires and educates. Like, that's why Rob and I have partnered up together. You know, we're JV partners. We support each other because what we do is so supportive of each other. What I do supports his clients. What he does supports my clients. I'm so happy you're here, Rob. And he's going to be talking about building relationships with email to build your business. So Rob, you've got the stage.
All right. Awesome. Thank you for that great introduction. And I want to give a shout out to Carrie, who I can see on the screen. Carrie, it's good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while in JVology thing. I will get caught up on, you're still on my list of people to talk to. So, all right. Let me share my screen. I've got some slides here to talk about today. And hopefully this works. I was telling Debbie I had some technology issues getting on here today. But hopefully this works. Okay. Can everybody see a blue slide that says build relationships with email? Good. Okay. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about building relationships because, as Debbie said, building relationships are so key to creating your business, growing your business, and to making sales. So we're going to talk about how all that works together and how to really use. We're going to go to the gloss over 360, 5-degree view. We're going to spin around and the bird's eye view because that's what we got for 20 minutes for. So let me. Of course, technology is not my friend with today. All right. So let me see if I can switch this to full screen and that will work better here. Full screen. Oh yeah, that's much better. Okay. So what do? I am a content marketing coach, and my mission is really to help coaches, consultants, and solopreneurs take the mystery out of marketing so they can create more leads, more sales by generating great content. And I love to help people focus on the email aspect because that seems to be a thing a lot of folks get stuck on. And just so you know, yes, this picture is actually me. This is the pre-COVID weight. So don't worry if you're like, who's that cute guy on the screen? That's really me. So trust me, this is really my presentation. So today we're going to talk about how to find ideas for your content that your subscribers will love, that they'll enjoy, that they'll want to open and read. And that's a huge thing. If you've got a million plates spinning, you've got clients to take care of, you're doing all kinds of stuff. Sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, what am I going to talk about in my emails this week? So we're going to talk about ways to get ideas for all of that. I'm going to give you some systems for composing emails on a consistent basis, some strategies on how to do that. And we're going to talk about how you can increase interaction with your subscribers and help, sort of be more secure in the fact that your emails are getting delivered to the right people. So I'm going to give you a couple tricks to make sure that that happens. So, in this day and age, why build an email list? Hopefully if you're here today, you don't really have a question about that. But there are a lot of folks in our positions who really haven't focused on that in past years. They're doing all kinds of great marketing, they're doing networking, they're doing social media, but really with an email list, it's not fancy, it's not TikTok, it's not super exciting, but it is a really valuable tool because emails, we're not as excited about them anymore, right? It's not that, hey, you got some mail, woo! It's like, oh my gosh, there's 100 emails in my inbox I have to go through today. Okay, I'll get to it. But this is despite all that, they still have a really good open rate. It's gone down over years, but people still open their emails and they have to make a choice. They delete them maybe, but they still have to read them or look at them. So there's still a really good high open rates. With email lists, you don't have to worry about any social media algorithms being changed suddenly. There's been lots of people panicking about all the stuff that Apple's doing to block ads coming through from Facebook and whatnot. So if people are on your email list, you can love them and nurture them until the day they unsubscribe. You don't have to worry about what's happening in that world. There's also a better chance of being seen on a more consistent basis. You show up in their inbox, right? You're there. Now they might not read it, but you're showing up consistently and they're going to see it at some point. Now, with social media, well, it depends on, hey, were they on Facebook at that time? Did they happen to peruse through, Instagram and get to your post, or, did they get tired and jump off before they saw it? So there's a much better chance of being seen with email. And there's also a much higher return on investment because once you pay for an email service provider, email doesn't really cost you a lot of money. Now, if you were renting email lists, which I don't really recommend that you do, but if you were spending money on this, the statistics show that for every dollar that you invest in email, you're going to get about $42 back. So there is still a really good rate of return on investment. That's a 4,200% return on investment, whereas something like Facebook ads, it's really like 9 to 10%. So it doesn't cost you a lot of money. It's a great way to, invest and spend your time, because your time is money too as well. So it's a great place to put your efforts. And with emails, they can do all kinds of great things. You're providing value to your subscribers. So, they learn as you're helping them solve problems and providing solutions. You're establishing trust. And that is so important when people are going to buy from you in a world where they may not ever meet you face to face. So, and they also discover that, hey, you're going to be adding some content and you're not just going to be selling to them all the time. You get friendly with people, right? You're developing the relationship and you're giving people a chance to get to know who you are. Who's the person behind this business or behind this practice? Also gives you a chance to get to know them. We'll talk a little bit more about how to do that. And you're also, you send emails on a consistent basis, you're training people that, hey, I'm here, I'm going to show up in your inbox, whatever that is, every week, every 2 weeks, get used to me in here. So you're training them to see your emails and want to open them. And then when you do make offers, they are really receptive to them because you've been showing up on a consistent basis and not just when you need, to sell something. Because, again, Debbie said, and I say this to my clients too, selling is all about creating relationships. People like to buy from people they know, that they like, and that they trust. And that's what these emails do. Give people a chance to get to know you as a person, not just as the business owner. So let's talk about how to really increase interaction and how to make sure that your emails are getting delivered to people's inboxes. So one of the most important things you can do, if you have an opt-in on your website and then there's a sequence that follows after that, or you're doing a giveaway event where you're giving away a lead magnet or a free class or something, and the first email goes out and says, hey, here's how to download this, ask people to reply to this email. Studies have shown, Entreport did a big study about this, and they saw that emails became much more deliverable when people replied to the first email that showed up in their inbox. And how do you do that? You can say something as simple as, here's the free thing I promised you, and I'd love to know, why did you want to download this? Or what can I help you with? So try to get them to reply. But a second best thing is to get them to click on something. So if you're giving them something, they're going to do that. You can also ask them to click on a link that maybe takes you to their Facebook group so they can sign up for that. Use calls to action in every email. When people talk about sales, we talk about that a lot. Like, what do you want someone to do? You want someone to buy this thing. But really, you can use them in all kinds of emails that you send. You ask people to tell you what they're struggling with, respond to this and tell me what you think, or, have you had this problem, or do you have a better solution than what I've offered here? So get in the habit of asking people to engage with you when you send emails. Now, a lot of folks worry that they're going to get like dozens of emails every time they do this. I will tell you that every time I have an email that has these in it, I get 1 to 2 responses. So most people don't take advantage of this, but you want to give people the opportunity and show them that the door is open to respond. Also ask people to whitelist or add them to their safe list. If you want so inclined, you can include in your email, this first email that goes out, directions on how to do that. Take them to a separate page. There's lots of information on in the internet about that. So you don't even have to create your own page about it if you don't want to. So ask them to safe list, put it in their safe list or to whitelist it. And also limit the number of images you put in emails. I subscribe to a lot of coaches' emails, And we used to go from the day where we had these fancy newsletters with tons of images and graphics and things. The spam filters love that. They just take those and go, "Well, that's spam, great." So try to limit the number of images to just one if possible. Most of my emails, I don't put any images at all. So because then you're not going to get flagged as, the spammy thing or a Macy's promotion or whatever. So really try to limit that to one if possible. So let's talk about some ways to find ideas. This is, again, a huge bugaboo I get from so many people, is where do I get ideas to send emails to people? Now, obviously, if you're sending like a sales promotion or whatever, that's got something built in. But what if you're just wanting to add value? You want to teach your subscribers, you want to give them important information, those kinds of things. So some stuff to keep in mind is really think about who is your audience. What do you know about your people? What's there, if you've done a client profile or a client avatar, you sort of have some ideas about the things that they read and the things that they're interested in besides the topic that you teach. So keep in mind, what are the problems that you're trying to help people solve? What's important to them outside of what you teach? What do they like? What do they dislike? And sometimes you have to experiment a little bit to find that out. And how can you create value for your readers? Every type of email that you send out should have some kind of value, whether that's a lesson, it's a valuable resource, or in a sales email, that's providing value too. You're giving them something that you'd like them to purchase because it's going to help them solve, the problem that they're having. So keep those things in mind when you're looking for topics. So some great places to look. I'm going to give you a handful of these. Well, the first one is if you've already got a list, ask your people. Right? Say, hey, I'm drumming up some new ideas for my email newsletter. What would you like to hear about? So just ask them. And you can do that on social media as well. In the Google search, don't just use it to search for stuff. Start typing in like a topic or a phrase or a keyword, and Google is going to suggest to you other things that people are searching for that have that phrase in it. So if you went to like marketing strategies or something, it might say, marketing strategies for business coaches or during the pandemic or whatever. So use that as a way, those suggested topics to use as information you can use to create your own emails. Pinterest has a great way to do this too. It does the same thing. It's not just all those pretty pictures and links. It has a search bar that suggests as well. So use that as a resource too. Amazon is one of those great places I like to use. I like to look for books on things about marketing and email. You can look inside a book a lot of times and look at the table of contents. Like, what are the topics that are in there that somebody broke down, and use those as ideas to create your own emails. Also, check out all the reviews of this book, especially the bad ones. Like, what did someone want that wasn't in this book? Is that something that you teach? Is that something you can write about? So mine those for ideas, both the table of contents and the reviews on Amazon. If you're unfamiliar with Quora, that is a great site. It's broken down by all kinds of topics, all in business and non-business, and it lets you search through those. And there's oftentimes people posting questions with, people, the community can respond to those. So that's a great place to get ideas too, because people are actually asking questions, and that's a place that you can take that and then use it for your own people. I love to talk about unusual holidays sometimes. Those great calendars with National Donut Day or who's your best friend day kind of thing. So are there holidays like that you can have fun with and tie into your business and maybe teach something related to that? Play around with that. Those calendars are out there. Along with seasonal events, right? First day of fall, Tax Day, is Black Friday coming? So maybe you don't sell something that's got a Black Friday, you're not going to discount your coaching for Black Friday, but maybe use that feeling around the season. Or what's the feeling that happens around Black Friday? The excitement, the holidays are coming up. Is that something you can tie into what you talk about in your emails? Reddit is another great place with search and discussions. Use the newsletters that you subscribe to. If you're like me, you subscribe to tons of different kinds of business owners. What are they talking about? Is there something that they're discussing that, hey, this might be a great topic for me to talk about with my audience too? And blogs are also fantastic. Use them like you would Amazon. Look for topics, look for what the comments people are saying, and look for the questions that they're having after they may have read a blog post. Again, other places to search, Facebook and LinkedIn groups are great. See what people are asking. look through comments on social media, and search hashtags, right? That's what those are for on like Twitter and Instagram. Do a search of those and see what people are talking about using your topic or your idea. And one of my most favorite sites, because I just think it's fun, is the site called answerthepublic.com. And I'm going to show you a screenshot from this. This is, I went there and typed in a question about marketing. And what it does is it just visually comes up with all these questions that you could ask or people might be asking about a topic. So you can see this is only like half of the screen that I could fit in this shot, but there are tons of ideas about email marketing. I think that's what I put in, email marketing, that you could use to spark conversations with your audience and use to create emails. So types of emails, right? So obviously there's the sales emails when you're going to be selling to people. There's might be kinds of emails that are like events, you're promoting an event you've got going on, like today, you all got an event announcement about today's networking event, or it's promotional, or maybe you're giving away some free stuff. Maybe you've come up with a new lead magnet or something you want to offer your audience, or you're promoting somebody else, their free event, like a giveaway. And then there's also what I call the nurture emails, or some people call them value emails. And those are where you are just providing great content for your subscribers and trying to help them, give you a little insight to your business, help them with a problem, teach something. So those are the ones that I try to make sure that there's no selling in those, but you're providing some value and you're still including a call to action, asking people to respond to whatever you were talking about. Again, getting them to interact with you and knowing that you are available, not just this person who's just thinks of them as a subscriber and shooting them out emails. So how do you create a system to do all this? Because this is a lot of stuff you could be juggling. So the way I like to work is to start with a brain dump, like start with the next month. What do you want to write about? What's come up for you recently that you're like, hey, I thought about this would be a great topic. What are some things that your audience is asking for or that they need? So write all of those down. And what do you have to write about? If you've committed to promoting somebody else, you're doing a JV partnership, you're promoting some kind of event, what kinds of things do you have to write about? And sort of then just map those out, right? Map out the type of emails. I've got a sales email this week. I've got a promotional email this week. So map them out on a calendar and just look at them and say, okay, is this going to be good for my audience? Is this going to be too many emails? Is this enough email? So give that sort of like a visual presentation. And then make time to write. This is one of those things that people, when they only sit down to write, a lot of my folks, when they need to get something out the door. So I would say, start scheduling this into your calendar, like exercise or anything else you do on a consistent basis. Even if it's just 10 to 15 minutes a day, and you just sit down and you're going to write 200 words, and you may not even be super focused. It's what comes to you, what you're sort of thinking about. Just get in the habit of writing. You're going to be surprised the ideas you come up with. And some really good, some not so good, just from creating that habit, developing that muscle of showing up regularly. And then schedule when are these emails going to go out, and make a commitment to show up consistently. Now, consistently is not once every 6 months. If you are building a subscriber list, you need to show up on a regular basis. And right now, if you can't handle every week, that's okay. Maybe you do one every 2 weeks. That is way better than showing up once a year or only when you need to sell something. So make a commitment to yourself and your business and your subscribers to show up on a regular basis. That is going to go a long way. And I really suggest you show up at least once a week if you can handle that. Another thing to do is to use templates, right? And you can make your own templates from emails you get. If you see a style that of a coach or somebody you follow, and you really like the way they lay that out, don't steal their ideas, but steal how they present it and then adapt it for your own. A thing I'm going to offer you guys too is this copy of, I have this download that Debbie will give you the link to in a bit. It's called Create Fast Nurture Emails, and it is 5 formulas that I have put together so that you can create nurture emails for your list quickly without having to strain about how do I put this together. They go from very easy to one graphic and some text with some advice to longer ones where you teach your audience about a certain topic. So some final thoughts about this whole thing. First of all, take a breath. It's, don't get overwhelmed about this. Again, make a commitment to show up consistently and to really add value to your audience, to your readers. Again, study your own inbox for inspiration and ideas. What do you respond to when it shows up? What are some great headlines that you see? Start a file of those and use those as inspiration to create your own. If you really struggle with getting the words out of your head and onto paper or onto the screen, try transcribing them. There's a great site called otter.ai, which is not that expensive to use. You can upload videos or recordings, and it does transcribe it by machine, but with a little cleaning up, you could easily format that into an email. So don't let the fact that you're like, it takes me forever to type. Find another way to do it. Don't let that be the obstacle to communicating with your list. Always keep your audience in mind. Show up consistently. And remember, we're not writing for the New York Times here. Done is better than perfect. If you spell something wrong, you know what? Life is going to go on. And if someone is upset and they unsubscribe, they probably weren't meant to be on your list in the first place. So just remember, it's about showing up and getting them out there and adding value to people's lives. And if you would like to follow me after this too, my best place to go is on my website. You can find links to all my social media accounts on there. So with that being said, I'd love to take some questions.
Awesome. Who has a question? Looks like Carrie has a question. Yes, Carrie,
That was great,
please.
Bob. That was great. Great ideas. I had a couple of questions about your images. You had said not have more than one image. Does that, because I have an image of me, and then I usually have an image of whatever is going on. That counts as two images, correct?
Yes, it does, yes.
And if you have a signature image where, because I've been thinking about getting a signature one, that would also count as an image, wouldn't it?
It does. Yep. Yeah.
And so you're suggesting don't even do that. Just stick to your signature, or don't have a picture on your signature.
Exactly. I'm not saying you can't, I subscribe to people who do send multiple images, but you just run the risk of, those email service providers flagging that as this is a promotion, especially with Gmail. A lot of times they are big. Sometimes I experiment with my own Gmail address, and this is something you can do. If you've got a Gmail account, go to your email service provider, send an email like that, and see where it goes when you get it. My own emails are going into my spam inbox. There's a problem. So you can test it out too. But yes, I would say that any one of those images counts as one image. Yeah.
Another question along that lines is I heard that more than one or two links now is a problem. And I often have 4 or 5. I have 2 or 3 at the bottom with my own stuff, and then I have 1 or 2 for the content within. Are you finding that to be true, or what are your thoughts around that?
I have heard that, and so far I have through my testing, I haven't seen it as a problem, because a lot of times, especially if I'm doing a promotional email, I have at least 3, the same link, but I have 3 links in there. But I also do something that's called a resource email, where I may be giving away, or promoting 5 things that are not mine, they're other people's that are all free, and I include those in them, and they still seem to get a really good open rate. So that's something to keep an eye on as it develops. But so far, I have not seen that as a huge problem.
Oh, cool. That's good to hear.
So if you had to choose, Rob, between which image, like Carrie was saying, a signature with her picture or whatever, what's the most important image if you have to just choose one?
I only use them if I'm going to demonstrate something, like I'm putting in like there's a picture, like I do this, one of the templates there is called an inspirational email, where I put together a visual quote, and then I use Canva to do that, and that is my one image in the email, and I talk about the quote in the email. So I kind of think that during this day and age, on your website, people know what you look like. People also don't need the fancy signature is fun. So I would say if you had to pick one thing and you really wanted your picture in there, put that in there. I would say scrap the fancy scrolling signature and use your own image.
So like, for example, in the JVology thing this week, are you like putting in, if you're participating in it, you're putting in that image and then not any other images, or do you not even?
I'm not putting any images in it, actually. I'm judging it purely image free because they're going to see the images when they go to the thing, and I try to let the writing do the talking. Because here's the thing about images too, is that think of somebody like me who I live in New York City. I read a lot of emails on the subway. So if I'm trying to download your email to read, like I'm in a hurry, I'm scrolling through stuff, and you've got all these images in there, how long is that going to take? I might not get to the part you actually want me to see, which is the actual content of your email. So think about that too, is that people a lot of times are reading these on small devices. So if you've got a lot of images in there, that makes it more difficult to consume your content because it gets spread out. I sometimes get impatient reading emails. So if you've got something that's a lot of images and a lot of text, I might get halfway through and be like, yeah, I can't finish this. I don't have time. Like my brain just sort of clicks off. So I tend to keep my emails between 300 and 500 words. I keep them on the short side because
Wow.
it just makes it easier for people to get, you have to get to the point faster. And also it makes it easier for your audience to consume quickly if they need to.
Fabulous.
What referrals are you looking for?
I love to work with coaches, consultants, and solopreneurs. So anybody that is using email and struggles with that, and does their own writing, they don't have to have, they can't hire a marketing department. Those are great referrals for me.
Do you do content also?
I do not at this point write content for other people. I used to, and then it made my head explode. So I'd rather coach people on how to do it better themselves.
Cool.
I'd like to see if anybody else has any questions because we have just a few seconds left. Anybody else? Laura? You're muted, sweetheart. You're muted.
And Doreen has one too.
And then Doreen, and then we'll wrap up because we'll run a little over.
Thank
But,
you so much. This was a great presentation. I'm curious what your thoughts on adding a video inside the email, just given, we have an attention span of less than a goldfish now. What your thoughts are on including a video embedded in your email.
I think it's good, and it's good to do a combination of those because videos are easy to consume. What I would suggest though is that you combine them together. Don't just send me an email that has a video in it. Start the teaching, start the lesson, start whatever it is, and then put the video in, because then again, if I don't get a chance to watch your video, I've gotten some of your content in there. So they're good to do. It's good to mix it up. I wouldn't do it all the time, but I would also try to combine those together so that you're getting some, you're starting whatever it is, and then you're leading to click the video to watch the rest of it.
Awesome. Doreen, and then
My
we will
question
wrap
was
up.
also, my question was also about video. And you could also, should I do a link to the YouTube channel or just embed the link or embed the video? There's two options.
Yeah, if you've got one, that would count as your one image. So I would say put it in there because so I can see what's going on. But I would also say experiment with your audience. What do they respond to most? If they, if you see that they're getting more of the clicking on the images or the links work better, try it out and see what happens. Some of this is trial and error because you just don't know what your people are going to respond to until the things you think that are going to be like, they're going to love this. And you're like, wow, only 5 people opened that. Okay. You have to try it out sometimes.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, Rob, thank you so much for this incredible presentation. Like, this was amazing. We're so grateful that you're here and that you shared all this wisdom with us. We really, really, really appreciate you. I took tons of notes. I put them all in the chat. So if you guys couldn't take notes, the chat's there. I took almost every note that everything he said, I put in there. So just really appreciate you. You gave so much wisdom in such a short period of time. So thank you so much.